Today, we are here to review the Performance Appraisal Process proposal. We are looking to implement a new review system for 25 employees and understand how we can newly do this in an organization. The most important thing to first consider as an organization is why we need it. What is the reason that we worked fine before without an employee review process, and now all of a sudden we're growing and we need it? Well, four key points is that: one, the evaluation process encourages positive performance and behavior. Two, satisfies employees' curiosity as to how well they're performing in their job. It is a useful tool to develop employees, and it provides a basis for pay raises, promotions, and legal disciplinary actions. Now, these are all key foundations and sound foundations as to why employees need to, you know, be interested in this process, as well as why employers need to take it serious and make sure that they're setting the correct goals and guiding their employees in the right manner. I would like to say that I have seen this worked in an organization. I have been through the review process, and I thought it was super beneficial, not only for me because I understood ways that I can grow, as well as how I wanted to grow in the company, but I also understood the company's goals and how it aligned with mine, and ways that I could be a better assistant or a better worker of the company. So you get all of that just through the this process. Where do we begin? How do we implement this in a new company? Where do we start? I think the three sound things to also consider is the frequency of how many times a year or every 2 years that we're going to do this. What are the rewards going to be for our employees, and then what the goals will be for both the employee and the employers. When you think about giving a a review, you want to consider how often. Now, some might say once a year is too seldom. But what you also have to consider is the time and cost that goes into this. If you're doing a formula just to consider the time, you have 25 employees. You're multiplying that by 2 hours you spend on each employee, plus an hour of administrative time just to record and, you know, to to formulate the review into words or whatever document that you're using. That's 51 hours of company time that you're using just to create these reviews. 51 hours that's not allotted to customers or sales or background things in the organization. When you take these 51 hours multiplied by the salary of the managers, because you still have to pay the managers for this. Say a manager gets paid $50 per hour. That's 51 hours times $50 per hour, a whopping $2,550 that's not spent elsewhere in the company, but on reviews, on rating your employees, something that is done in a formal process versus observance, something that's written on paper. And while one may think, well, what's the benefit of this? Later down the road, we'll see how exactly this affects the company and the employees for the better. Deciding whether you should give rewards to your employees based on this process is a significant one. I know that I was in a review process where the company that I worked for gave us bonuses based on how well we did in that review. And it was definitely an incentive to work hard, but also it showed you that you were appreciated for the hard work that you did. That here is a company that, yes, they want you to meet these sale goals, but they're also not focused on their customers alone, but they're you as employees who are actually putting in this hard work, and that felt great. It was a reward in itself, not that everything is about money, but it definitely allowed the employee to feel satisfaction with the company. Another thing that's crucial is goal setting. So making sure that the personal goals of the employee align with the goals of the company. Companies set strategic plans, and a lot of the time they want to make sure that the employees that they're with align to these larger goals that they have. And I think it's important that those two align so that the overall goal is being met, but also so that the employee feels like they're growing. No one wants to be in a company where they feel like they're stagnant, where there is no room for growth. It's not favorable, but it also does not promote employee satisfaction and will create turnover in that company. Setting employee performance expectations is crucial in this process because it allows the employee to understand what goals they need to meet in order to do well in their review. As an employer, you want to make sure that the employee's job is up to date. You want to clarify the key job functions that they should be following and things that they should be doing throughout the year. You want to revisit the performance expectations with them at least once a year so they know whether they're on track or whether they need room for improvement, especially if there's a raise or bonus involved. And then you want to revisit the goals and objectives, and just so they know what they need to do for the remainder of the year. So those two do go hand in hand. I would like to say that I've experienced it firsthand in one of the departments that I were in, where the manager did not know my job duties. And so as a result, at the end of the year, during my review, here we are talking about job descriptions that had nothing to do with the job that I had in hand. During the year, they had made adjustments to my job duties, and they failed to update that in my review. And so I ended up taking a loss as an employee during my raise because, there was nothing to document. There was nothing on paper. There was nothing for me to comment on, and the manager didn't know what to grade me on. So this is definitely a key. You also want to track your employees' performance. Of course, if you're going to be grading them, you want to make sure that they're doing what they need to do, but also that you have a system in place that allows you to view what they have done. A lot can be lost in a year. There's, especially if you're in a large organization managing more than 25 people, you can overlook things. So having a system, especially a 360-degree performance appraisal system, should be beneficial, because not only does it allow you to view what's going on, but say that employee were to transfer to a different department in the company, it allows that manager to see how that employee was doing. Say that employee needed disciplinary action or were facing disciplinary action. It allows HR to see what that employee was doing. So I do stand by 360-degree performance appraisals, and I think it's also it's good for employees as well, for them to write down how they feel they're doing, or things that they've done that management sometimes may not see because, they're busy with other things. This is a great one-stop shop for there to be communication, and communication is key in this process, because this is something that is showing your growth, and you want to be true to it. You want everyone to see exactly the work that you're putting in, even though you might not shout it out on a day-to-day basis. You may be a quiet one, but at least people know what you are doing in that organization. Conducting performance reviews, that should be the last step, but it's a crucial one that definitely needs to involve management. There's too much biased ways between employees. You can have a fallout with an employee that can affect your review. There's just too many things that can occur between peer-to-peer reviews that won't happen in management, or are less likely to happen in management. Management goes through training. Management goes through training that allows them to, separate their biases, if that were to be an issue. Conducting performance reviews also, you want to be able to reference the goals documented. So you want to be able to look back at what the goals of this employee was and rate them effectively on that. I think that it's crucial to have the system in place, not only for the employee, but the organization as a whole. This creates overall satisfaction, and it definitely allows the employee to feel like they are a part of the organization, to feel that they are working hard, and to have that documentation of everything that they're doing, not only for those that are looking to grade them, but to have that self-satisfaction. It's like if you get an award, and just having that piece of paper means something. That's exactly what documenting your successes throughout a year through a review feels like, just like receiving an award. So those are the important factors of the system, and it should definitely be used by many organizations.